Okay, hi everybody, John here. It's Sunday afternoon, that's right, Sunday afternoon. It's been raining all weekend, pretty nasty out there. But normally I would go to my local car boot sale, sort of surfing for records, but they generally don't have it on if it's been raining. So I think there's a good chance that it's been cancelled. I'm just going to cruise by there and see, but I don't really have much hope for it. That's where it says car boot sale, but yeah, there's bollards there, so it's not on. That doesn't necessarily have to be the end of the road for the Sunday, because yeah, I've got a friend who I bumped into. It's a chap that I play bowls with, a man called Tom. Very nice chap. I bumped into him. I think he was making a donation at a charity shop here in Barry, and I told him what I'm doing. I said, I'm surfing for records, collect them. And he said, I've got a load of records at home that I want to bring to the charity shop, but he said I've got so many of them and they're heavy, I can't get them here. So I said to him, okay Tom, well that sounds promising. Would you mind if I come and took a look at them? And I said I can even put them in my car and take them to the charity shop for you. He said, yeah, okay. Now, this was a few weeks ago, and I kind of, forgotten about it. But then I thought, well, I better try. Go and meet Tom. I don't really know what to expect, but we'll see. It's going to be interesting. I suspect, because Tom is a man, I think I don't really know. I estimate he's a man in his 70s, potentially. Possibly younger, possibly older, it's hard to tell. But so I'm thinking, what kind of records is he going to have? Are they going to be of any interest for me? I doubt there'll be any rock and pop. But with any luck, there may be some jazz. Okay, so, well, that's kind of exciting. I've just been to Tom's house and taken a bunch of records, a whole lot there, let me see, a few bags, and I'm not going to go straight home with these. I'm going to stop off somewhere and look at them. Can't do that sort of stuff when kids around. And I'll let you know what's in this piles of records. So we're back at my place now, and I've had a chance to go through the records that I got from Tom, listen to some of the ones that are mildly interesting to me, and sort them out basically. This is what we're listening to. This is called Sound of Love. Somebody called Corky Cochran, tenor sax with Seattle strings. I've picked this one out because I quite like the saxophone. I don't know if I'm going to keep it or not, but I thought it was kind of pleasant to play while I'm going to show you these records. So I've sorted them out into basically a large chunk of everything that I really have got no interest in, and that is most of them. I picked out a small handful of LPs and a few singles that I'm going to keep a bit longer and test the waters with. And then I've sorted out a bunch of things that may be of interest to other people. So the ones that I'm not necessarily going to keep myself, but maybe I'll pass on to other people or something. Yeah, I warn you, it's not a pretty sight. A lot of this big stash of records that I got from Tom is very typical of the stuff that you'll find in a British charity shop, and it's quite representative of many of the artists and records that we here in the UK have to sift through to get to the real gems when we eventually find them. So anyway, I'm going to take you down here and flip through some of the ones. So here we got pile of singles and big pile of LPs there. These are ones that I've sort of sorted. Yeah, I don't really need to hang on to them. These are the ones I've picked out to hang on to a bit longer, and these are the ones that I've picked out to, well, pass along to other people if they may be interested. It'll be interesting to flip through some of these, give you all an idea of what we see on a regular basis in the UK. So this kind of thing, I don't know why, but in the 70s and the 60s it was the thing to remake music by other people, by some sort of a smaller artist. This is a very common record, you see it everywhere. Mrs. Miller, I've got no idea who she is, but that looks absolutely dreadful. Nana Muscuri, some guy that's a crooner. There's a fair amount of classical in here, but I don't really know much about classical or collect it, so something I'm going to keep on to. Yeah, I don't really need to go through all of these. You get the picture. Stars on 45. Actually, this is one with yeah, where they sort of basically joined together all of the Beatles songs to like a hand clapping beat. Yeah, it's as dreadful as as I describe it. Yeah, Lennon McCartney played on trombones. Chariots of Fire. Yeah, all this kind of stuff. Best of Broadway. There's lots of Andy Williams in there further back, so on and so forth. Singles are pretty much, you know, Shakin' Stevens, big Welsh star of the 80s. More Shakin' Stevens, PhD. Yeah, so it's Lionel Richie and lots of stuff that I'm just not ever going to ever want to hear. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what I picked out that seemed mildly interesting to me. This one is cool. I'm probably going to do a needle drop of this one. Can you believe it? This record, it's called Birds and Brass. Basically it's a record of music played on brass instruments with female backing vocals. You couldn't get away with calling a record Birds and Brass these days. That is so sort of 70s kitsch of its time. So I'm thinking about keeping hold of that, purely for the kitsch quality of it. This one's a good one. It's got some writing on it, unfortunately, but it's Stereo Space Odyssey. So it's music from well, it's classical music, and it's got the theme from 2001. But it's got some really fun sort of early synthesizer electronic music woven into it somehow. I don't know if that's in the movie or not, but I played it and it sounds quite interesting. Of course, yeah, they make a big thing of it being stereo, so it's an interesting thing to look at. This is another one I'm sort of on the fence about. This is the Sweet, and it's one of those records. What do they call them in America? Double up or something? I don't know. Twofers. That's what Chris at Dixieland Farm calls them. Twofers. So we've got the Sweet, and it's on the other side a band called the Pipkins. I think it's quite early Sweet because none of the songs I've heard, but the vinyl's actually in pretty good condition, so it's sort of a good sound. Pipkins, they seem to be some kind of a novelty act. Yeah, I'm on the fence about them. And likewise this one, Incantations, basically panpipes music. I don't normally go in for this kind of stuff, But again, I put it on and the stereo effect was quite nice. Kids liked it. They sort of have this really sort of up close to the speaker panpipe thing going on. And there's a couple of Sinatra albums. That's quite a nice one. I was playing that the other day. And a double compilation, 40 songs. I haven't played this, so I don't know how it sounds. If it's any good, I'll hang on to it. If it's not, I won't bother. And there's some interesting singles. Bob Marley and the Wailers. What else have we got in here? Jeff Beck. Kate Bush. John Lennon. Yoko Ono. Human League. And a few others. You know, I won't go through them all, but you get the idea. There's certainly ones worth checking out and holding on to. And then here's this big pile, oh, a little bit larger pile, of records that I've got a couple of versions of this already, so I don't need another one. If anyone's wanting that, let me know. This is the Paul Simon, oh sorry, no, the Simon and Garfunkel Live in the Park album. It doesn't have a cover. The records are really good, you know, lovely shape. They're not scratched or anything like that, very clean. They just don't have a cover. I've got a version of that myself. I don't need another one. It just seems a shame not to use that. Donna Summer. This is an original album. It's got that really long track, Love to Love You Baby. I think it's an early example of ever doing this sort of disco extended mixes type thing. So one half of this album is just one track, Love to Love You Baby. I played that. It's very disco, it's very 70s. It's not really my thing, but hey, somebody might like that. Bauhaus on it, for instance. Madness. Kenny Everett. Flock of Seagulls. OMD. Robert Palmer and many more. This was another interesting one. It's got the Kinks on it, The Move, but it's also got the Searchers and the Righteous Brothers, Sandy Shaw, Edison Lighthouse. Yeah, I don't need that, but somebody might be interested. Morecambe and Wise. I haven't played that, but it's in good shape. They're a very popular comedy duo here in the 70s and 80s. Godfather music. I don't like gangster films, so I don't like the music. And then there's 3 albums by the Stylistics here. Now, I don't really know anything about the Stylistics, except that I think that they're a soul group. Whether they're a good soul group, I don't know. It's not really my thing. Yeah. And then last one here is pretty good compilation too. It's got Trogs, Kinks, Beach Boys, Donovan's on here. There's even a track by the Zombies there. There's the Birds. Yeah, I listened to this, and although it's quite good, I'd never listen to it if I had it. I owned it. Yeah, that's basically my lot that I got from Tom. Okay, well, that brings us to the end of this particular little adventure. Wasn't particularly very fruitful, was it? I got 1 or 2 little bits and pieces, a few singles and that sort of stuff that I will hang on to and keep, but the majority of it is just things that I'm not going to hang on to. They'll go to a charity shop somewhere. I like to think I've helped Tom out because I've taken this big mass of records away from him that he sort of inherited from his father-in-law that he doesn't want to hang on to. So that's a win-win, I suppose, there. I guess it was quite revealing for you to see just how this can go sometimes in the UK. Alright, well, thanks very much for watching. Check out my next video, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, bye.